Hi, darlings. Thank you so much for joining on the Creative Retreat channel today. I am journaling the Treasured Up devotional kit for November. And here you can see that I am showing you that I printed out the pattern on the back of the devotional by printing out the digital devotional. I loved this pattern and I knew I wanted to use it. So I went ahead and printed that out. And so I am going to add some of this pattern to the top and bottom of my page. And I'm going to add a little bit of texture to that by just ripping off that paper. Now, I am journaling here in Luke chapter 2, and I am kind of focusing today on what God was doing in Mary's life and in Mary's heart. In my first entry for this Treasured Up devotional kit, I focused on what God was doing through Jesus, through Christ, for Israel and for his people, and ultimately for us as well. And today I want to focus more on what God was doing in Mary's heart and what I learned from that and what I'm reflecting on after doing some study time. So here on the page, you saw me add some of that torn paper to the top and bottom of my Bible page. And here I am just going to block off the section that says that Mary pondered these things in her heart. And I wanted to use a couple of journaling cards because I'm going to be leaving some space in the middle for me to do some prayer journaling. And then I'm going to have this second card as a place to make a list of things that are going to be happening in this season, and kind of making that list so I can ponder on those things. When we look at the story of the birth of Jesus in Luke, what we're looking at is this through the eyes of the shepherds, through the eyes of Mary, through the eyes of Joseph, and later on, of course, through the eyes of the wise men. But right here in this section, now what the shepherds have been told through the angels, and we're also seeing the reaction of Mary to everything that's happening around her. And yes, we can think of Mary here as the servant and the person that God is using, but I'm also seeing her as the mother of Jesus. And I think this kind of hit home because when the Bible says that she was storing all these things up and treasuring them in her heart and pondering on these things, I kind of thought of myself of when I'm seeing God work in the lives of my children, of how I like to treasure and keep all those things close to my heart because I can see the wonderful work of my God through my children's lives. And so what I wanted to do was a page kind of symbolizing what I learned from that and how I felt. But I also want to be able to document a couple of things that may be going on in this season with my children that I want to have close to my heart. So on the left-hand side, you see me add that journaling card. I also roughed up the edges a little bit with that bonsai green Creative Retreat ink pad. That was just to kind of frame in the page a little. And then I layer that second card that I cut off the top part with the stars. And I just wanted to have all of those little spaces in the middle. And there I will be leaving some space for me to add a couple of personal things that I'm seeing Jesus through or God do through my children and in my children's life that I want to treasure up in my heart. I use some of the cardstock stickers that came in the kit, and I am putting that title Treasured Up in My Heart. The in my, I kind of cut from the tab from the Faithful Digitals, just creating my little word fetty there. I'm adding some wonky hearts all around my page. I love using these wonky hearts to spread around colors, as you guys know. I also had this golden star in my stash. It was in my Christmas crafts stash, and I wanted to use that as a holding place. This was going to add a little bit more gold to my page, but I also want to layer over that some word fetty over on the left-hand side. So you'll see me grab the stickers and look for the word fetty that speaks about me holding close all these things in my heart. So all the things that I'm going to be writing down over on the right-hand side. As you can see here, I am using liquid glue through this whole process. I have enjoyed using liquid glue in my Bible because sometimes over time the tape runner adhesive sometimes pulls off. So liquid glue is my favorite adhesive right now. So after adding some of that word fetty, I also wanted to add a wonky heart there. And then you'll see me pull the faithful digitals once again. I'm going to be grabbing a couple of those labels so I can put down my date stamp. As you guys know, that's one of my favorite ways to use the labels in the faithful digitals. I also grabbed some washi. This washi is actually from last month's kit, and I'm going to be using this washi to kind of anchor down my tab that I put over to the left-hand side, and that tab does come from the cardstock stickers. So here I'm just doing some prayer journaling, and I'm just asking the Lord that just like Mary, I want to stand in awe and wonder of everything that God is doing around me. But I want to hold close those treasured moments that are going to be coming up in this season for my children. And I want to see how they stand in awe of what God is doing in their lives too. So after I do my prayer journaling, I'm going to go ahead and grab those labels as I told you guys. And I love doubling them up because it's a neat way to use two colors and kind of bring those colors over to the left-hand side as well. In this season, I know that we have sometimes that hustle and bustle of the season, but I want to encourage you to also take the time, maybe in your prayer journal or your prayer planner, faith planner, and create a space where you can go back and write down a couple of things that you want to treasure from this Advent season in your heart, just as Mary did. It's so important for us to reflect back on what God is doing, because I feel like that carries you through those seasons where you feel like you can't see God working. I'm going to add one more of those wonky hearts here to that label, and here's a last look at my page. Don't miss the other girls' videos here on the YouTube channel, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye.